Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at Nugget 2021 today. Our next session will be a Women in Tech Leadership panel. So our speakers today are leaders from Sisters, which is a group founded by Anita Borg. So today we're joined by Megan Amos, Jennifer Perrick, Prachiman Chandra, and Zaza Soriano. It's sure to be a great session. And if you have any questions for our panelists, please feel free to ask them using the chat section on the right-hand side of your screen. So with that, all systems are go. Ladies, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining our session today. We have an exciting group of women leaders joining me, and I am excited to get started. I hope your day at Nugget has been going well so far and that you have enjoyed the content that we've been able to provide for you. My name is Megan Amos. I am the VP of Customer Success here at Netrio. I oversee our entire customer operations team. So you will meet my teams working with support and services, training, and also the customer success team. They are providing a lot of sessions today, so I hope you are attending those and hearing good stuff from our customers who have joined us as well. Outside of work, I also do things related to technology, which is supported by Netrio and something that I am extremely appreciative of, working for a company that provides platforms and voices and financial backing and things for your passion projects is a rare find. And so I feel extremely lucky that Netrio sees value in things that I do outside of work. And one of the things I do outside of work is lead an awesome organization of technical females with the three powerhouses joining me today. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we will talk about our work in tech outside of our day jobs. So Zaza, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so I'm Zaza Soriano, and I am one of the Sisters Keepers. And I currently am a senior software engineer at NASA, and I also have a dog treat company and a tech startup that I'm working on.
Tell us about your tech startup. Go ahead and give yourself a plug. Do it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so my tech startup is called Zawink, and we have a way to provide automated employee temperature monitoring for businesses. And we use smartwatches that have temperature sensors on them and allow employers to now see if their employees are coming in with a fever so they can send them home and make sure that the workplace stays healthy.
Yeah, that's something awesome that you were able to figure out during the pandemic, a way to help people be able to still work. And that's awesome. So thank you for elaborating on that. I didn't feel like we could skip over that. Jennifer, do you want to go next?
Sure thing. So hello, my name is Jennifer. I'm a senior software engineer at ThoughtWorks, and I'm currently based in Berlin, Germany.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Prachi, you're next.
Hi, I'm Prachi. I'm a software engineer at Microsoft. I'm currently based out of Bangalore, India. And outside of work, I contribute to open source. I was one of the co-chairs for Open Source Day a couple of years back at GHC. And I'm a part of this awesome group of women called Sisters Keepers. We help manage one of the largest email lists for women. So nice to be here.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me. I'm doing a few different panels and speeches and sessions during this conference. And selfishly, I am real excited about this one. So let's go ahead and jump into what we do as far as work and advocating for tech outside of our day jobs, right? Because like we mentioned, we bring NASA and ThoughtWorks and Microsoft and Netrio to the party, but we also advocate and do a lot of things for another organization. Zaza, do you want to talk to us about what Sisters is?
Yeah, so Sisters actually started maybe 20 plus years ago. And a bunch of technical women were at a conference, mainly full of men, and they realized that it was pretty rare to see other women in the field. And they started this email list called Sisters with a Y, SYSTERS. And it allowed them to connect and kind of form a community and get the support they needed that they weren't getting at work. And now, 20 years in the future, there's, I think, 8,000 plus women on the list. We've expanded to using Slack. There's community events, and really it's just a way to bring women together. And some women, like, they're the only one in their class, or they're the only one at their job. And it can be discouraging, and this kind of allows them to go get support so they don't leave the field.
Yeah, which I think is awesome, because when I joined you as Sisters Keeper 4 years ago, question mark, 5?
That's
I
a
don't
while
know.
ago, yeah.
At some point, it's been a hot minute now. But when I joined you, I was the only technical female at the startup I was working at. And it was the first time, and you'll hear us reference GHC. We're talking about the Grace Hopper celebration, which is a conference of females in technological roles who gather once a year to really just celebrate being an underrepresented person in tech. And that's where I met Zaza. And she was one of the first people actually that I met. I stumbled onto a volunteer opportunity on Twitter and then ended up at a dinner next to her. And then next thing I knew, we are running sisters at the time. And it's been an awesome adventure. But for me, I had never been in a room with 2 technical women, let alone in an arena that morning with 28,000 technical females. And that for me was absolutely mind-blowing. And it really made me want to advocate for other women and underrepresented people who didn't have people that looked like them sitting at the table and making sure that they felt empowered to do that. So Jennifer, what brought you into Sisters?
So I got to Sisters actually through the open source projects that we used to do back then. And I was a computer science grad, and I was almost the only female in the room. So there was only a few of us. And I remember the thought of actually pushing code like just in public, having everyone seeing that frightened me. It really, really scared me. And Sisters gave me a really nice community to grow as a software engineer and to practice my skills in a really comfortable environment. So, I mean, I started as a kind of contributor and then also went ahead to also mentor others. So I became a mentor, and it was just, again, a really, really nice environment that gave me the confidence and I'd say the confidence to actually stay in the field because it gets really lonely sometimes in a room full of men. So I think this is what I'm really thankful for. And that's why I decided. So this was back in 2014, and I've volunteered with and for Sisters since.
Yeah, that's awesome. Prachi, let's hear from you and your journey to Sisters.
It's actually very similar to what Jennifer said. I was also drawn into Sisters Open Source first. My class had like 15% representation of women, and it was very hard to find somebody who was into programming and was not doing lead code. And because that is the only way that we all knew how to get jobs. So I was just, trying to figure out, hey, I like programming and I just want to find mentors for myself to grow in and find my place in the industry. So I stumbled into Sisters Open Source. I contributed. I grew into like a mentor for their projects, and I grew into their open source admin. I managed and ran the GSOC program for Sisters Open Source for about 2.5 years. And then I went on to co-chair the open source day. And I think that really set the tone for my professional career. And because back then I was just, an undergrad student trying to figure out, do I even belong in tech? Like several times I just felt like quitting. But I felt like the community, kind of kept me in here. And now I just look back, it was 7 years back, how far I've come. So I'm just incredibly grateful for that. And after that, I think I met you and Jennifer and Zaza, and we are running this ever since.
Yeah. It's been really life-changing for me to have a community of women who understand my day job and who can provide support for me when I struggle. I think we all struggle, and it's hard to voice that. I know the 4 of us are in communication like 12, 14 hours a day. God bless Discord. And which makes our time zones way more manageable, right? So I know that we provide that for the 4 of us too. And it's something that is exciting to watch. I won't name which one of us, but as we look at opportunities and we look at taking risks, we know that women are predisposed to shy back or not have the confidence to go dive into a new job that terrifies them, or to take risks during a pandemic to start their own company and try to figure out, with no human interaction in person, how to be a founder. So really being able to provide a solid foundation for people is huge, and making sure that we are paying it forward to those who helped us, and making sure that, well, paying it forward to in honor of those who have helped us. My favorite story is at my very first GHC. I went to a GoDaddy career lounge, and like I walked in, I have like my swag bag from like the conference floor, and you all know me, like I'm a sucker for a good tech t-shirt. So I have my swag bag, and like I look ridiculous walking into this because everybody else like has no swag bag. They're not like super dressed up, and I am like the eager like new person in the room, and I'm networking, and somebody asked me what I did, and I told them my job and other things I volunteered for, and this woman looked at me and she was like, "That's cute," and she introduced me to someone else, and she was like, "This girl doesn't know boundaries." And I was like, "What does that even mean?" And she was like, "Just because you're eager and you're smart doesn't mean you have to do everything." And for me, that woman changed my life. I was like, "You have a job that's amazing. You don't do everything?" And she was like, "No, I'm also a mom. And I'm also, I run one thing within GoDaddy, which is part of the reason why I'm here in this lounge. But like, who are you trying to prove all these things to? Your title enough is awesome. Good for you." And for me, it was just a light bulb moment that was like, okay, why am I chasing all of these things? Why? I found her the very next year at GHC, like in some weird, like I found you online and I know what session you're going to. And I was like, "Hi, you changed my life last year. And I don't know if you realized it, but I have all the boundaries now. And I never had anyone tell me it was okay to say no to things and to be okay with where I'm at." As a senior leader, I don't have a lot of female senior leader mentors. So I've been able to find that within this community. And I think there is definitely a need for senior women and mid-career women who also need a community. And I love that the four of us are able to provide that together. Zaza, can we talk more about benefits of Sisters for you? And like,
For me?
you've been in it for a real long time.
Yeah, probably 10 plus years I've been part of Sisters. I actually, so my journey into Sisters, I was in undergrad, and they needed someone to go to the Grace Hopper conference who was a woman and in computer engineering. And so they were like, "Well, Zaza, do you want to go?" And I was like, "I've never heard of this, but sure, why not?" And of course, there, I started meeting people. I believe I met Rose Robinson, who was the previous Sisters keeper, and we just became friends. And I started volunteering at GHC, and eventually Rose needed a replacement because she was going to step down from being Sisters keeper after I think about 10 years or so. And she asked 30 plus people, and they all said no. And I don't know, maybe I should have said no too, but I was like, you know what, this terrifies me. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it anyway, because that's how you learn, right? And I soon realized that it's okay to ask for help. And so I brought Megan on, and eventually we were like, whoa, we need more people. So we brought Jennifer and Prachi on. And yeah, I mean, I think I get two things out of Sisters. One, I get a lot of my leadership experience out of Sisters. Like in my current job, I don't lead a team. I don't even have the opportunity to lead a team. It's not something I get at work, to be honest. But so I get that outside of work, and I can bring that to the workplace. And also, I really enjoy and love empowering other women to do well at work. So
yeah. I mean, you and I had a quick Zoom meeting, life pep talk earlier this week that was outstanding. And knowing that you can just pick up the Zoom, I don't know, we can't pick up, we don't pick up the phone, but you can just call somebody on your laptop and get the support that you need. Jennifer, what is one thing, if you are a female in tech and you haven't found your niche, what is your piece of advice for somebody coming in and to tech as a female? Because I know even on my teams, I just hired a new grad. She's a female. She is the only technical female we have. And for her, it's like, where are her people, right? So where, and I should say, what advice would you give to a new female in the tech arena?
So I'd say, I think we've heard some really good advice already. It's okay to ask for help. Don't be so keen and do everything. So and I would say, I mean, if I could go back, one thing that I would change also with myself at the beginning is, trust yourself a little. What I've done in the past, like I used to suffer from extreme like imposter syndrome. And I think if I could have just trusted myself and my abilities, and just make some mistakes, I would have probably grown even further. And I think, I mean, I grew far, but it was a real mental strain. So I think this would be the advice I'd give to people.
Yeah, I like that. Prachi, what about you? I know that in particular, you have a very big heart when it comes to like harassment in a workplace or being in an environment that maybe not is ideal at the time. What would you say to a female that is coming into tech for the first time?
I think one of the most important things which has helped me is just being brave, because sometimes, so I've had instances where I've felt unsafe, not within my current job, but I understand navigating those conversations can be incredibly painful and like demoralizing and make you feel that, hey, is this even for me? So reaching out for help from your superiors or from another person who's on the team, even if they are not women, is completely okay, and even outside of the organization. And another thing would be, sometimes when an incident like this happens, people tend to close off and, not put in their best at work. I think one of the things which has worked well for me is that even if something terrifies me, like looking back, I've gotten some opportunities which I was absolutely not qualified for, but I just closed my eyes and said, okay, I'm just going to give this a try. If I screw it up, and I am embarrassed about them, even though they look great on my resume, etc. But that's how you grow. Just if we just soldier on and be brave, and I feel that nobody really remembers the embarrassments except for ourselves. So not to be embarrassed by, if you give a talk outside. So my first talk, I screwed up a lot. But I don't think anybody remembers. Everybody just remembers that I gave a talk. So just forget that and it's okay to make mistakes. It's completely okay. Everybody makes mistakes, and we are our own biggest critics. I think that was just a lot of.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if you haven't learned that it's okay to make mistakes and you write code, I'd like to talk to you. I don't know anybody who writes great code first time around and doesn't make mistakes, but being able to fail is important, and not be too hard on yourself too. Something else that I think is important, because I'm going to make the assumption that not everyone watching this session is a female, and I appreciate that too. I think when we hear large companies talk about diversity and inclusion, or we watch organizations talk about those two words in particular, I really think we don't put enough effort into what those words actually mean. When we talk and we want to make progress with something, and we want to talk about being inclusive, and I'm sorry this is repetitive, I know the three of you have heard me talk about this before, but when you're like, we're super inclusive, but we're for women only, or we are super inclusive, but this group is just one segment. I think learning how to develop and make allies in tandem with the group or niche that you are supporting is vital. You can't make change on a large scale if everyone in the room doesn't have a voice at the table. So I know a lot of people, and it's always disheartening for me if I talk about sisters and they're like, oh, it's like a girl group, cute. And I'm like, that's not it. We also have quite a few male allies who will help us. And the biggest mentor in my life is male, and he is a constant advocate for me working with sisters and me doing work with just me and for my educational benefit, my career benefit. But I really wish, as we continue to make change, the four of us, that conversation continues outside of here. So if you're watching this and you're like, oh yeah, but I'm a dude, like, it's fine. I see lots of people who look like me in meetings. Then bring someone who doesn't. Then advocate for someone who does not look like you, right? Because as we are learning with code and algorithms and things, if they are all programmed by people who look the exact same, they aren't inclusive straight out of the gate. And that's not great for change. Yeah, so that's just something that I think I'm extremely passionate about and always want to get out of my mouth when I have a platform, is to talk. If you preach that you are good at diversity and inclusion, put the proof out there. Really do that and be consciously doing that and advocating for others. My son is on his esports team at his high school, and a girl made the varsity team this year, and she's good. And it's hilarious. And like, it's nice to hear my son no longer saying like, there's a girl on the team, like shocked. He now just refers to her by name and how awesome she is. And so I love that my 15-year-old is getting to see that kind of change, and that there's a girl on the varsity esports team that's killing it, because I think the three of, like, you and I want to see females everywhere doing just the same things, and not even females, right? That isn't just the conversation either. We have LGBTQ and all sorts of inclusive initiatives that need to be better argued for on a bigger level. Yeah. Do any of you have anything to say in regards to that?
I mean, I definitely agree. I remember I worked on a diversity and inclusion project when I was at the applied physics lab. And one of the things we actually found is that people really didn't know the difference between diversity and inclusion. They kind of thought it was the same thing. And on a personal note, I always kind of like to go for diversity of thought, just because, I mean, I don't care what you look like or any of that. I really want to know, like, what are your past experiences? You know, like, what have you struggled with, and how has that influenced your current, like, how you can work on current projects? And some of the best coders I know, like, they don't even have a coding degree. They didn't come from code. They came from some other background, and now they're bringing this whole new, yeah, exactly. They're bringing this whole new perspective, and it's awesome. And that's something you don't get when you just hire the traditional coder who they all look the same and they all have the same thought process. And you need that diversity, or you're gonna not come out with products that actually work for everybody.
Yeah, I agree with that. Jennifer, any thoughts there?
I mean, I feel you had the whole range. I completely agree, and I honestly wish for a world where this is possible, this kind of diversity.
Yeah, me too. Prachi, I'm going to call on you too. I'm making everybody do it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think one of the things that, especially in the current world, and as we move into like a hybrid world where some people are, going to work and some people are remote, I think what we really need is just better inclusion, especially making sure that everybody's voice gets heard in the room and not just, people who are speaking the most. And it's very easy to ignore voices of your teammates or your colleagues who are not physically present with you, or who just, have their mics off. So just being present for your team is just a small step, because that change is going to create like a ripple effect across the organization if everybody just takes like the smallest measures to be inclusive of their colleagues at work.
I love that.
Can I add on to that?
Please do.
So volunteering for years, right? We've been using Zoom, and we always turn our cameras on, and we're always on and we're active. And I mean, not to throw NASA under the bus, but we don't use cameras. And I was talking to other companies, and they don't use cameras either. And you need that in-person, like, as much as in-person as you can get from cameras. It makes it for a more inclusive workplace. And you miss that engagement when you don't have your cameras on when you're working remotely.
I agree. I mean, even the four of us, because of COVID, we haven't seen each other in 2 years, and we work together now daily. And it's nice to be able to see faces and emotions and making sure that we are staying properly connected so we can support one another and really support our sisters community. I love getting on a sisters call and seeing women from different affinity groups all across the world and seeing faces and smiles and progress and watching people's faces be elated by personal victories, work victories, like all the things. So I think that's an awesome point. And working remote is definitely a thing. I'm 100% remote now, and it's a totally different ballgame. And being inclusive and being diverse is also a choice while you are that, and it's definitely one you have to put some effort into. We managed to already hit our 30-minute time frame. Who knew that the four of us could talk for a while without a script? So thank you so much for joining me. You three know I adore you and the work that you do, and it's my honor to work with you on a regular basis. I look forward to our future journeys, and I will post our LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with us and talk with us. And if we can help you or talk or answer questions, we would love to do so. We hope the rest of your day at Nugget goes well, and we appreciate you spending some time with us. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.